what I have here on screen, okay, is an actual Students 101 essay number 5, a student I worked with last fall, okay, and Chris, who we met earlier, is going to actually be working with me. We've shared this document, okay, so it's an open document, and would you mind, Chris did some of the legwork on this, so would you just explain some of like the color coding and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why this is so valuable is, as you can see, the color coding is very purposeful. The teal represents the very first sentence of the essay, which, you know, sometimes that's the hardest thing to write. The red is the thesis statement down below. And the visual aspect of it makes it a little easier to visualize where you want to go, what you want to do. You could even take those pieces out, put them on a separate piece of paper, and know where you're working with. That's specifically useful in something like what you see in gold there, which is the topic sentence for each paragraph. The blue are the quotes from the texts or the quotations. The orange are the transitions or lack thereof. So you can just pull those out and work on those. Those can be the hardest pieces. Green, the green with the brackets around them, are any comments interjected by the tutor or instructor. And brown are all the outstanding issues like subject-verb agreement, grammar errors, things like that.
And over here, all right, and I've had, students and fellow instructors ask me, well, what's so different about this as opposed to Microsoft Word? Okay. First of all, once this document's created, it's cloud-based. What that means is you never have to worry about finding the file, right? It's always there. There's no possibility of losing your work, okay? In addition to that, this is a little dialog box that we have, okay? So theoretically, if we were in class, Chris and I, okay, while we're looking at this paper, we could actively respond to it in real time, okay? Now think about if you guys do peer editing. At what paper are you guys up to at this point? Like paper number 3?
Draft 4.
Okay, all right, okay. So you've gone through peer editing quite a bit at this point, right? But how many people have kind of, you get your peer editing responses back, and you're looking over them, and with no disrespect to the peer editor, you wonder if they were looking at your essay. Have you ever found yourself kind of wondering, like, well, clearly maybe they didn't understand something, or maybe I could be clearer, but these comments aren't as helpful as I would like them to be. You guys ever found that? Okay.
Yes.
I can tell it's a grim moment in the room. When you're working in Google Docs, working in real time, you can actually kind of actively respond, right? So while Chris and I are engaged in discussion, right? Okay, we can actually focus on something very specific at the time that we're working on, right? Not only that, if you wouldn't mind responding to that little text I just made. So that's, Chris as he's entering in the text, right? He's peer editing with me at the same time. So think about kind of meaningful exchange you can have, sitting down, discussing something with someone. Now think about in terms of how this translates into your experience of the writing process, right? The immediacy that's there is incredible, right? The ability to kind of share and collaborate is incredible too. Now I'm just going to quickly, we're not going to go through it, I just want to show them here. All right. This is something that was worked on in my 201 class. Okay, and it's just roughly a proposal outline, ideas that this student was focusing on. Okay, so of course, right, we're able to organize it as you would in Word or anything like that. But you know, the student very specifically had ideas that were textual and that were visual, okay? Now, what he was able to do, and I apologize, the speakers aren't working, but, you know, he has a very specific issue he wants to relate to a clip from this film, right? And hopefully YouTube isn't there. He's able to do that, right? He's able to realize, go from the idea of just basic ideas to a solid formulation.
Paul, can't you also embed the video in your document?
You could, yeah. No, you definitely could. For a 101 paper, I wasn't sure, but you're right. For like 201 or 301, it would be an excellent idea to include that. Right? One other thing that's very, very handy, okay, with Google Docs is revision history. Okay, any document, you know, will be worked on and changed multiple times before there's a finalized product. Right? Sometimes you're thinking about it and you're wondering, wait, what was I thinking maybe a week or so ago when I was looking at this? Okay, we can find out, right? Restore this version. We can actually go back, right? Literally, nothing is lost, and we have the same kind of dynamic that we have in an actual one-on-one conversation. Now, let me just ask, you guys are in XPOS. Would you like to see something like this? To be able to work on your papers with something like this?
Because Google Docs saves your draft every 15 seconds. It's never gone. You never lose it. There's never an excuse. And if you invite your teacher to be a part of your document, there's never like the moment where I lost my paper.
Like, do you think we should go to the video? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're going to wrap up. There's just this really short video that's actually very good and very entertaining about Google Docs, and it's very short. So.
Home is where we keep the things we need. Whether it's a lawnmower or a coffee pot, it has a home in our lives. Of course, our documents are no different. For years, they lived on our computers. Each person has their own computer-based home for documents. When we need to share a document, we usually attach it to an email and send it to a friend's or coworker's computer at home. Here's the problem. When you attach a document to an email, copies are created. Consider this. If you send an email attachment to 3 people, the same document will exist in 4 different places. That's a problem. There's a better way, and it means saying goodbye to messy email attachments. This new kind of home isn't on your computer. It's on the internet. And that makes sharing and collaborating on documents much easier and gives you full control over who can see and access your documents. Here's the basic idea. Instead of attaching a document to an email, let's switch it around and look at how we can attach an email address to a document. Meet Sam. Sam is the editor of a neighborhood newsletter called the Oak Tree View. She works with local writers who like to publish articles in the newsletter. Sam loves her job, but often feels frustrated when time is wasted managing all the articles. It's a familiar problem. Each month, writers send her draft articles as email attachments. She reviews them and sends them back with comments. One article might create 6 different versions of the same file, not to mention countless emails. Sam often feels buried by all the email attachments. She finds it hard to keep track of all the versions being sent to her from the writers. As the deadline looms, frustration rises. Something has to give. Sam decides to try something new, Google Docs. Here's what happens. First, she visits the Google Docs page and creates a free Google account. She logs in, and because some articles were already written, she uploads the current draft right from her computer. With a snap, Google Docs turns the offline articles into online versions. Now, all she needs to do is invite the writers to collaborate on the documents. Here's how. She clicks Share, inserts email addresses, and clicks Invite Collaborators. Google Docs sends the writers an email with a secure link directly to her document. One click, and they can edit and save the document online. This means that when Julie edits the document, Sam sees the changes immediately. Since there's only one document, there's never confusion about updates or versions. It's all saved, along with the past versions, on the website. For the first time, the articles all have a home, a single place for organizing and editing that is accessible from any computer with internet access. Problem solved. What's really cool is that this problem isn't just solved for documents, but also spreadsheets and presentations. free can now have a secure home on the web that works exactly like Sam's documents. Sam is relieved. Without having to deal with attachments, multiple versions, and all that clutter, she can be an editor instead of a document master. And for the next newsletter, not a single email attachment is sent, and Sam beats the deadline by a week. Sharing documents made simple, and all for free. Google Docs rocks.
Hello, Casey.